morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a good old look at those Tag Team Pokémon, because those Tag Team Pokémon are getting dumb. Now, two very important things to point out before we get properly going here. First of all, yeah, I know we talked about this a few months ago, but in the past few months, as I'm going to show you, they've started getting even worse. Things are accelerating away. But secondly, I do have a couple of tips for you for some of these lovely tag team Pokemon that aren't so ridiculous at the moment. So after sitting here and lamenting the fact that, hang on a second, they're all ridiculously expensive, no Wassy, I've left it too late, what have I done? You can then hopefully find some which are, a little bit more reasonable. So we might as well start off with what is the big boy, and that is your Latios and Latias. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I slept on this and I feel stupid. Because Baby Daisy's spirit Pokemon is Latios and Latias. And I always meant to get this card. And it was one of those, I'll do it later, mate. Yeah, later came and went, and now I'm in a little bit of a bit of an issue here. Quite frankly, yeah. I mean, we can see here, in the past year, according to TCG Player, it's gone from a $290 card, which is high, up to a $630 card, but actually that doesn't really tell the story, because the last near mint one sold for $700. At the moment, the cheapest listing on there is $850. So it might be listed as a $630 card in terms of market price. I don't think that's necessarily a fair reflection of value. This is a card that's gone absolutely silly. This is also not the only card we're going to see on this list from Team Up. And basically, I think Team Up is a set that's going to start getting really, really silly sooner rather than later. Obviously, you've got them making their heads into a heart shape, right? This is a stunning card. No one's arguing about how amazing this card is, but the time to pick it up cheaply has well and truly gone. This has gotten absolutely over the top ridiculous. Now, I will say there is a bit of a gap then for the next one, which is quite ridiculous. That is Gengar and Mimikyu. That one is currently, it's listed as about $340 over on TCG Player, but the last two near mints, one was $334, but the other one was $373. And another thing you'll notice is, I had last told you this, 4 or 5 months ago, something like that. This is a year graph. So look at what happened about 4 or 5 months ago. It started going up even faster than normal. Like, when I look at this back in March, 3 months ago, this was a $185 card. It's now a $340 card. So, yeah, fine. I told you a little while ago that these were getting silly. Oh, what I told you a few months ago, nothing compared to what's happening to them now. The high-end special art tag teams, alternate art tag teams, phrase it how you will, they are getting absolutely beyond silly in terms of value. It's getting a bit ridiculous. And actually, number 3 is also from Team Up. Like, the first 3, the 3 most ridiculous ones, are all from Team Up. Magikarp and Wailord, and this is another one that I love that I should have picked up that I didn't, and I'm stupid. It's currently sitting there as apparently a $270 card. And I will say, at least the most recent sales here do back up that it's a $270 card. That is at least, about where it makes it. But one thing which I think is important to note, just like the other two, in the past 3 or 4 months, we've seen it even accelerate, frankly. Like, it started going up even faster in the past few months, which is not something that we were expecting. We knew it was going up, but it's continuing and accelerating. Now, it does at least slow down a little bit from here, but there are still some which, in sets that aren't Team Up, which are a little bit silly. And you'll notice that the general trend is they're going up. So Gardevoir and Sylveon has crept up to a $205 card, except there's 2 near mints that have sold for $240 and $250. So actually, 200 and change is just too low. And you'll notice that this one has at least started leveling off a bit over the past kind of month and a half, 2 months. but it's still been going up pretty steadily. There was a point when these cards were available for a not ludicrous amount of money. And unfortunately, that time is in the past, ladies and gentlemen. That time is very much in the past. We are now at a stage where I don't think these cards are ever going to be particularly cheap. Like, when we're talking about Sun and Moon sets, we occasionally see them popping up in this product and that product. But in terms of going and buying, like, booster boxes and stuff, your time is over. Now, Cosmic Eclipse is a set we've seen a little bit of, and ADP is the big one from there. It has gone up to about a $200 card in the past year. I mean, in the past year, it's gone from 87 to 197. That's basically 2.5 times what it was, literally in the space of a year. And I wish I could go back a year and be like, yes, getting silly, guys. Maybe try and buy these. But then again, like 4 or 5 months ago, I did tell you this was starting to get silly. And that was, if there was a point to go and start buying these, I think that might have been it. I think that might have been the time to go and do so. Because what we see with cars a lot is the prices will fluctuate and sometimes fall when we're at that point where the sets are still being sold. But once the sets are essentially done and gone, you kind of lose your opportunity. And at that point, they start going up, and they never really come back down again at that point. You've lost your opportunity, and it's just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping you can find a deal at some point, which is generally not the best way to play it, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Solgaleo and Lunala's the other one from Cosmic Eclipse, which has gotten a little bit silly. I mean, it's got Lily on the artwork, so it was never going to be super cheap. And that one has taken a very slight dip in the past couple of weeks, but it's still comfortably kind of a $160 card, and we've seen recent solds for more than that. So, sure, we've seen a very small dip very recently. I hate to break it to you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we should be expecting this to start cratering anytime soon. I honestly think the time for these cards cratering has passed. Now, there are a couple in Unified Minds we should mention quickly as well, although they're not quite on the same level as the ones we've looked at. We've got Mega Sableye and Tyranitar, which has gone up to about $160, $170 card, although there is a recent sold for $200, so this one is right on that precipice of just becoming, like, dumb, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen. And Tyranitar lately has apparently been kind of doing the rounds. The one from Paldea Evolved, which has been hyped up way too much lately. So I don't know, maybe it's just a Tyranitar thing lately. And then the other one we see from Unified Minds is your Raichu and Alolan Raichu, which is about a $150 card. We saw there was a very big spike around the end of April, beginning of May, but since then it has at least calmed down a little bit. Now, the good news is, if you've got one in mind that you really want to pick up, and it's not been on this list so far, it is at least a sub-$100 card. Now, that's not to say it's going to be stupid cheap or anything along those lines, but it is at least a little bit more reasonable. Take Rowlet and Alolan Executor. That's like a $60 card at the moment. Now, I'm not saying that's, super duper crazy cheap, but I am saying with the way some of them are going, that's not too bad, ladies and gentlemen. That's not too bad at all. Pharamose and Boswell is one that I'm quite a big fan of. I love the artwork on this, and that's kind of like a $40 card at the moment. So if there are some of these other ones that you're a bit of a fan of and are wanting to be picking up, now is the time to do so. Now, there's some of my hints there. Basically, any that aren't on this list, time to start looking. But we need to remember that some of these alternate arts came around as promos. And for some reason, some of these promos are actually, they're actually getting not that ridiculous. Not that ridiculous at all. And that, I think, is kind of the trick right now. Like the Charizard and Breaksin, absolutely stunning artwork. Yeah, it's come down from a high of $20. It's currently $15 over on TCG Player. Why is this only a $15 card? And I know it was a promo, but try picking up the product it came in for a reasonable price. You ain't doing it. This is my tip to you, ladies and gentlemen, for you lovely people that have come all the way to the end of the video. Some of these promos are just ridiculous and are way, way cheaper than they have any right to be. The Celebi and Venusaur promo? Yeah, that's gone all the way up to a $17 card. My local game store that is known for not ripping people off found one of these the other day, one of the tins, I mean, in which this was sold, and is selling it for a pretty decent price. They're not selling it for $15, though, are they? These promo alternate arts are just, and I almost kind of want to not put this in the video and just go and buy them all up myself, because I don't understand it. Some of these set ones are going absolute over the top silly, where the promos are being completely ignored. And yet, these promos are stunning, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely stunning. Just something to think about at the end of the video. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know your opinions. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, all kinds of fun things. And of course, get shout outs on the channel, like the lovely Evan Parker, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time and is a very lovely person indeed. So shout out to them for both the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.